Many thanks indeed for staying with us here on Morning Prime. We now want to turn the crack on the big day's event, which is the BBI. And looking also at our dailies as well, we know that will be squarely the focus of a second day at the Supreme Court. I want just to prime if you're joining us this morning on what the papers are also showing as well. The Standard is holding this particular headline this morning. Uhuru Raila's last bullet to save BBI is what we have on the front page of the Standard. Lawyers of President and ODM leader lead assault against Court of Appeal judgment and that blocked BBI constitutional changes by painting a picture of contradictions, confusions and anxiety allegedly caused by lower courts. The story is well fleshed out for you on page 6 and 7 of the Standard this morning. And also you're aware about the high drama that was there on Jimmy Wanjigi's offices that were raided yesterday. You can see a very telling picture there of the ATPU officers outside the Nairobi offices of ODM politician Jimmy Wanjigi, where they confronted his supporters. He was arrested and detained at Kamkunji police station, and this story is well fleshed out for you on page 12. An insert of him is here, handcuffed, and he's alluded to the fact that yes, this is electioneering period, and this is bound to happen given the fact that also in 2017 his house was raided by the police officers as well. So this is sort of very nostalgic for him. Has it pointed to the politics of the day? That is a question that is hanging on the rafters of Kenyans' minds as well. There is a sorry, very gory story that we also ran for you earlier on the horrors of bodies dumped in River Yala. And Standard also has carried a very telling editorial piece today regarding this, pointing to this particular incident. That is not the first time that we've seen bodies being dumped in rivers. And it says that 19 bodies are said to have been recovered from River Yala in a span of only 3 months. Most of the bodies, according to witnesses, bore torture marks, while others had been tied with ropes. And there is no doubt, it continues to say, that these people were most likely killed elsewhere and then dumped in the river. Shockingly, this is not the first time that bodies are being found in rivers. There are unaccountable cases where grotesque, mutilated bodies of missing people have been fished out of water bodies. And now human rights lawyer Willie Kimani's body and those of his clients and the taxi driver were retrieved from Ol Donyo Sabuk River in 2016, days after they went missing. 4 police officers and a civilian are caught over the killings last year. 11 bodies were recovered from River Tana in 3 months. The bodies had torture marks and some of them had been tied to huge stones. In May last year, the body of businessman Bashir Mohammed was found in River Nyamidi days after he was abducted. His charred car was found in Ngong Forest. Still last year, 15 bodies were found in Muranga River in a period of 2 months. That is Muranga Rivers in a period of 2 months. There is no doubt that a merciless gang is roaming our towns and villages, killing people and dumping their bodies in rivers and other places. Unfortunately, apart from few cases such as that of lawyer Kimani, the killers are still roaming free. Of concern is that we cannot merely blame civilian gangs for these murders, as security agencies have on various occasions been accused by human rights activists of extrajudicial killings, especially in the war against terrorism. But whether committed by police or civilian goons, I should say, murder is murder, it is criminal. It is the duty of police to investigate and bring the culprits to book. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutambai must ban the midnight oil to end this odious crime. Criminals should not be allowed to turn over rivers into cemeteries. We don't want rivers of blood. Very telling editorial piece there. You can read it. But the Daily Nation has this particular story headlining the front page of it. And this is what you're waking up to this morning. If you're joining us right now, this is on the Daily Nation. Uhuru cracks the whip. Uhuru cracks the whip. It says that is a splash that we have this morning from the Daily Nation. And the sub-headline reads, in fresh purge against MPs allied to Deputy President William Ruto, Jubilee plots removal of 5 leaders of parliamentary committees whose loyalty has reportedly shifted away from the party and President Kenyatta. This story is tucked away on page 5 of the Daily Nation. BBI fights back. Supreme Court hearing starts. That is the story that you can follow also inside the Daily Nation. And mystery of bodies dumped in River Yala. I've told you of that story. It continues also on page 12, I should say, of the Daily Nation. And when Jiggy arrested on accusation of land fraud is another story that you want to follow inside the Daily Nation this morning. People Daily is all about also the BBI. And this is what is holding for you on the front cover of the People Daily this morning. And legal battle to save BBI starts, it says. That is a story that you want to follow. Also, top power managers arrested over outage. 10 of them have been arrested. There is a scandal over transformers as well. And you can see also a related picture on the headlining story. That is the Supreme Court yesterday, where the hearings started. It continues today. And as I've mentioned, we'll be covering that live for you, wall to wall, wire to wire, right away from the Supreme Court. That is the People Daily this morning. Let me show you what we have on the front page of the Business Daily. We buckle up down a bit for the stories on business. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Business Daily this morning. It says how KPLC ended up with 900 bad transformers. That is a scandal that I was talking about. And this is the story that is well fleshed out on the front page of the Business Daily this morning. Ex-manager testifying in case where former CEO is charged, saying defects could not be blamed solely on supplier, the maker. And the story continues on page 4 of the Business Daily this morning. So was this a case of sabotage or these blackouts that also we've been experiencing in the country? Remember, we had this same scenario harking back 7 years ago that there were continuously blackouts in the country every other day. And that was pointed to sabotage because people wanted to, of course, steamroll their own contracts and ride on the blackouts as a stock excuse. Best of Kenya is another story on the front page of the Business Daily, and you can see President Uhuru Kenyatta presenting various traditional attire and gifts to Hungarian President János Áder during a state banquet held last evening in honor of the visiting head of state and his spouse, Anita, at State House, Nairobi. That is on the front page of the Business Daily. Confusion as all passports in use after phase out is a story you can follow also on page 5 of the Business Daily. Why African airlines fault COVID papers demand, page 13 of the Business Daily. Supply hiccups, top business leaders worries is another story inside the Business Daily as well. Right, I want just to go also internationally and show you what is on the front page of the Time magazine, and this is the person of the year according to the Time magazine that we should be looking forward to, right? That is up momentarily for you, especially when it comes to very seminal episodes and riveting skin program, TV programs. She's been very instrumental. And this is up next. This is the New Times, I should say, of Rwanda. I was misleading you. That is, Rwandan firm looks to extend new Pan-African payment system to region. Rwanda firms looks to extend new Pan-African payment system to region. That is a splash on the front page of the New Times. This is happening in Rwanda. And Rwandan woman referee Mukanga Sanga makes history, found the history that she's made there inside the New Times in Rwanda. Right, as mentioned earlier, BBI hearing continues today, and President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga commenced the final fight back to attempt to revive the quest to amend the Constitution through the Building Bridges initiative at the Supreme Court. 3 separate appeals seeking to overturn the Court of Appeal verdict that upheld a nullification of a constitutional amendment push were heard by a 7-judge bench. And as our senior political affairs reporter, Morimi Mwangi, reports, the battle to rescue Kenyatta from civil culpability over legal omissions emanating from